Good morning, one and all present here. I welcome you all to the 92nd webinar of the Saturday webinar
Can
series
you
by
hear
Managed
me?
CI. Yes, we can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
I'm not
So
able to hear
welcome
you.
you all to the.
Wait, let me do some adjustments here. Yeah, would you speak so that I could reconfirm? Not able to hear you.
Okay. Can you hear us, sir?
Now I can. Yes, it's done.
Good, sir. Good to go, sir. Jinath, it's good to go. I think you can start.
So talking about the Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship, the center is Center of Excellence in Agribusiness Incubation, hosted at the National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management, and it's one of the leading agribusiness incubation centers in the country. And Managed CIA has till date supported 450 plus entrepreneurs and incubated around 300 startups from various focus areas of agriculture and allied sector. The topic for today's session is government intervention to support agri startup, the various schemes government is supporting agri startup. And we have two speakers joining us today. Our first speaker for the day is Dr. Sanjay Saxena, who is the General Manager and Head of Department Investment at BIRAC, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. The center is playing a crucial role in enabling innovation in the field and also support the startup ecosystem. I request Dr. Sanjay Saxena to take over the presentation. I request all the attendees to use chat box to address their questions to the speakers. The questions will be taken up during the Q&A round from 11:40 to 12. Just a minute, I'll start presenting. I'm sharing slowly.
We're just sharing the presentation, sir.
No problem.
You can see it?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. A very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share some of the interventions and initiatives taken by BIRAC to support agri startups. Right at the beginning, I would like to tell you that whatever I'm sharing with you is not restricted to only agri startups. Uh, we support practically every aspect of biotechnology, but since the topic was related to agri startup, there are few specific slides included in the presentation which are specific to the topic. Can we move on to the next slide, please? As you would be aware that BIRAC is a non-profit company set up by Department of Biotechnology in 2012. Department of Biotechnology being a government agency cannot directly support private entrepreneurs. So that's how BIRAC was established in 2012, primarily to serve as an interface and to support startup entrepreneurs and SMEs to develop various biotechnological product technologies and processes. So the important aspect here is that whatever intervention we are talking about, it must have a biotech component. Other aspects are not supported by BIRAC. Now, within biotechnology, what is it that we support? As I mentioned earlier, that we support practically every aspect of biotechnology, which includes healthcare. Within healthcare, it is devices and diagnostics, clinical trials, vaccines, drug delivery, so on and so forth. Agriculture, and again, agriculture as a broad topic, we cover aqua, veterinary sciences, etc. Waste management, industrial biotechnology, environment-related activities, and sanitation. So practically everything under biotech. Next slide, please. A little fast. Now, coming down to the agri-entrepreneurship of something I mentioned about earlier, some of the major challenges, of course, you being in manage would be knowing much better, but this is something I'm sharing from our experiences. As compared to other aspects of biotechnology, what we have observed is that there are relatively fewer startups and companies operating in the field of agricultural biotechnology. Perhaps the reason is that the gestation period here is relatively longer as compared to some of the healthcare related activities, especially devices and diagnostics. In terms of infrastructure, it is more demanding. You need both lab and the field facilities, and most of the activities are subject to vagaries of weather. There are technical and IPR related challenges. Also, in majority of the cases, there is a requirement of a multidisciplinary team, which at times become difficult for a startup to organize. There are delays associated with the regulatory approval, especially in case of GM crops. You have already be aware of it. Some efforts have been made by the government in the recent past to ease these regulatory approvals, but still, at times, they may be time consuming. Also, in certain cases, there is still lack of clarity on the regulatory guidelines. High cost of innovation in some cases as compared to the global competitors also keep the agri-entrepreneurs away. Apart from that, affordability is a major issue because in India, majority of the farmers are relatively poor. And even after development of the technology, its acceptance becomes a major challenge. Then, of course, the industry-academia partnership and general reluctance on part of the investors to invest in companies which are early-stage research. Now, the last 2 points are very general in nature and not specific to only agri-entrepreneurs. Pandemic, of course, not getting into the details of it, created a lot of problems in the last 2 years. Next slide, please. Now the question is, what is it we support? See, the thing is that the first thing that any entrepreneur would require is money. Besides other infrastructure, which I would be talking about, but definitely you need money to start things. So whom do we support? We support NGOs, universities, research institutions, societies, individuals, startups, SMEs, and biotech companies. So practically everyone in some form or the other can get a grant from BIRAC. But that doesn't mean that all the listed out here would be eligible to apply in a single scheme. No, that's not the case. For each situation, if it's an individual, there's a separate scheme. It's a biotech company, there's a separate scheme, and if it is academia, there's another scheme. So based on the nature of the recipient, there are different schemes which are available, and I would be discussing them very briefly during the course of the presentation. Now, what do we support? It's practically every aspect, right from the ideation stage up to the pre-commercialization stage. There are different schemes, and like if somebody just comes up with an idea, we have got an early stage scheme, and if you perform well, you have the option to apply for other schemes for the next stage, that is the early stage research, and then there is a late stage validation, clinical trials, etc., up to the pre-commercialization stage. So in next few slides, I am going to give you an idea about the various schemes. Next slide, please. Another thing that I would like to mention here, that the schemes that have been structured by BIRAC are all linked to the technology readiness level. It is just an extrapolation of what I said just a few minutes back, that we support right from ideation to commercialization. But these ideation to commercialization stages are linked to TRL, what is known as the technology readiness level. So there is a bigger scheme which is for TRL1 to TRL3. There is a SIBRI scheme which goes from TRL3 to TRL5. And then we have got a BIPP scheme and pre-commercialization PCP schemes. So all this are linked to the TRL levels. These TRL levels, besides helping us to decide on the scheme, also helps the innovators and the evaluators to identify their stage of technology. More details are available on BIRAC website. I will not get into the details because the TRL, depending upon the technology, depending upon the field of biotechnology, it varies. So please visit the BIRAC website for more details or feel free to write to us. Next slide, please. Well, this is just to give you an idea that under the scheme called Sitare, where funds up to 15 lakhs are provided, we have got scheme called ACE, where the support could be as large as 7 crores. So the range is anywhere from 15 lakhs to 7 crores. Next slide, please. I start with the biggest scheme. This is basically for the early stage research, right from ideation to generation of proof of concept. We have got 2 calls in a year. These are announced on 1st of January and 1st of July, and each innovator is entitled to receive up to 50 lakhs for the research projects. The duration of the research project is fixed, that is 18 months, with no scope for further extension. The scheme is managed through 8 partners whose job is not only to help the grantees with desired infrastructure, but also provide mentoring, monitoring, and networking besides other business-related activities. Next slide, please. I'm going to rush through because we don't have much time. It's only 20 minutes assigned to me, so would be a little faster. Kindly bear with me. Now, just to inform you that the 21st call of BIG is on. It was announced on 1st of July, and it will remain open till 16th of August up to 5:30 p.m. So those who are interested in applying can take the advantage of the 21st call, which is open at the moment. More details are available on BIRAC website. Next slide, please. Not getting into the details, kindly refer to the website for more details, but it is basically meant for the individual entrepreneurs with graduate degree in any discipline. And the second important aspect is that the individual must be incubated in a recognized incubator. Besides this, besides individual, any startup or a company registered under the Indian Companies Act 2013 is eligible to apply. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right. Now, BIG, as I said, was primarily meant for early stage research. Now we come down to the I4 scheme, which is intensifying the impact of industrial innovation. This program was initiated primarily to support development of biotechnological products and technologies for companies. While BIG is meant for individual and the startups, and the startups by definition is a company which is less than 5 years or 10 years old. So, this is the biggest scheme is meant for that. Here we not only the startup, but other companies are also eligible to apply, including LLPs. Now, I4 has got 2 components. One is SIBRI, that is the Small Business Innovation Research Initiative, and BIPP, which is Biotechnology Industry Partnership Program. Incidentally, SIBRI is the oldest scheme launched by Department of Biotechnology to support industry through public-private partnership. So that's how it was started by DBT, and subsequently other schemes came up. But SIBRI was the first one. Next slide, please. The SIBRI scheme was launched in 2005, as I said, is one of the earliest scheme. And this was launched primarily to support early stage research. That is up to TRL6. Here, in addition to support the early startups, even research activities which were little risky and the entrepreneurs would have avoided venturing into that were also supported. Besides the project-related activities, there is also a provision to support R&D capabilities and capacities of the existing private companies. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So far as the eligibility criteria is concerned, this is more or less the same so far as the companies are concerned, that they must be registered under Companies Act 2013. Now, the companies have the option to apply either individually or in collaboration with another company or an academic partner. The important part here is that minimum 51% of the shares of the company must be held by Indian citizens. So when we say 51% share, we are talking of equity, number one. Number two, they must be Indian passport holders. Indian citizens like PIO and OCI, etc., are not considered. The second important aspect of the eligibility criteria is they must have adequate in-house facility to address the project implementation. And if they don't have that facility, they should be incubated in any recognized incubation facility. Next slide, please. I think I'm running out of time. In SIBRI, if the project cost is up to 50 lakhs, if 100% of the project cost is borne by BIRAC, however, if the project cost exceeds 50 lakhs, then it is 50 lakhs plus 50% of the amount exceeding rupees 50 lakhs. So to give you an example, if the total cost of the project is 100 lakhs, 75 lakhs would be paid by BIRAC and 25 lakhs would be the contribution from the company. However, in case of collaborative projects which involve academic partners, the entire cost to the academia is borne by BIRAC. Next slide, please. Now, after SIBRI, this BIPP scheme was launched in 2009. This is primarily meant for validation of the technologies. This includes scale-up, demonstration, pre-commercialization, etc., etc. And from agriculture perspective, all the field trials, and from healthcare point of view, it is the clinical trials, all three, phase 1, 2, and 3, are supported under this program. The important point here is that the end point of the research study must be TRL7 or higher. Now, irrespective of the cost of the project, 50% of the project cost would be borne by BIRAC and remaining 50% is contributed by the company. Next slide, please. Irrespective of the scheme, whether it is BIC, SIBRI or BIPP, for last 2 years, there have been amendments in the BIRAC rules, and all recipients of BIRAC grant are required to pay 5% of the annual net sales of the product developed through BIRAC assistance as royalty. And this royalty will fall due from the beginning of the first sale of the product and will terminate once the amount paid becomes equal to the amount received from BIRAC as grant. Next slide, please. PACE is a scheme primarily for academia because we believe that there is a lot of good research taking place in academic institutions, and these two schemes are meant for academia. The first component of the PACE scheme is the Academic Innovation Research, what we call it as AIR. This is primarily to support early stage research and generation of proof of concept. while the contract research scheme is meant for validation of a technology or a product developed under the AIR scheme or otherwise. Next slide, please. Important part with CRS scheme is that since it is meant for validation of the technology developed by the academia, so involvement of an industrial partner is a must. Now, so far as AIR is concerned, important part is that we must have TRL3 as the endpoint, minimum TRL3. Basic research is just not supported under AIR. We expect that at the end of the project, there would be at least a proof of concept generated. The maximum duration for which a project could be submitted is 24 months. But yes, if there is a project which is less than 24, it's welcome. The total cost of the project must not exceed 50 lakhs. And the non-recurring component cannot be more than 10% of the total cost of the project. Now, so far as the IP rights are concerned, they remain with the academia, or it could be jointly shared between academia and industry, but it is for the academia to take a call. BIRAC doesn't, interfere so far as the IP rights are concerned. Next slide, please. I think we can rush through because we are short of time.
You can take a few more minutes, sir. That's not.
All right, fine. That would be nice because, I thought I wanted to cover as many schemes as possible, and that's the reason I had included slightly more slides. So if you permit another 5-7 minutes, I should.
Sir, you can take it, sir. You can take next 5-7 minutes, no issues.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. So far as AIR is concerned, as I said, it is primarily meant for academic institutions. The applicant can either submit the proposal either individually, or it could be along with another academic or industrial partner. The thing is that, remember here, it doesn't go to the faculty. The project goes to the academic institution, but executed through faculty. So this is something I would like to clarify, that unlike a big scheme where the project is assigned to an individual, in case of AIR, the proposal is or the project is assigned to the academic institution which has submitted that, and the role of PI is merely to execute it. Next slide, please. Well, I think we can skip these slides. This information is available on BIRAC website, so please refer to the eligibility criteria for more details. Now, so far as the contract research scheme is concerned, as I said, that this is primarily meant for validation of a technology which has been developed by the academia, because the rationale behind this scheme was that anything that is developed by academia will not be accepted by the industry just like that unless and until it has been validated by the industry. So here the involvement of an industry is a must, and funds are supported to both academia as well as the industrial partner. IP rights reside with the academia. However, the industrial partner would have the first right of refusal for commercial exploitation of the new IP. Next slide, please. Please skip these slides. You can. I'm going to help you with a PDF version of this, so you can refer it at a later stage. Just to inform you that the call for BIP, SIPRI, and PACE is on. This call opened up on 15th of June and will remain open till 31st of July. Would like to inform you that this is a regular call. Regular call means that the applicant would have complete freedom to submit a proposal in any area of biotechnology as per his or her choice. Usually what we do is that we have one regular call and the other is the challenge call. So alternately we announce these calls. Now challenge calls are those where we identify the priority areas and the proposals are invited only in those selected areas. So, there would be some restriction. But the call that I am referring to, the present call, is a regular call without any restrictions, and this will remain open till 31st of July up to 5:30 p.m. Please note, it is not up to 12 o'clock, it is only up to 5:30, because there are several instances where we receive requests from the applicants for extension of time or the deadline, not practically possible. So please, if you are interested, take advantage. Next slide, please. Can we have the next slide, please?
Is it the next slide? It's coming, sir. It's loading, I think. Huh?
I think we missed one slide.
Yes, sir. I think.
Or there must be another one before this.
22nd was this. This
Yeah,
is this.
no, yeah, that's 23rd. Fine, please. Next slide. Move to 23rd.
Yes, this is
now,
fine.
Right. Now, this is to give you an idea that within agriculture, what kind of projects are being supported. So they have been broadly classified into 5 categories: the marker-assisted selection, transgenics, biocontrol, disruptive technologies, and others. Now, with earlier in the initial years, the focus was more on biocontrol and marker-assisted selection, but in last 3-4 years, things have changed, and the number of projects supported under disruptive technology category have increased significantly. And nowadays, we are supporting projects related to machine learning, artificial intelligence, drones, CRISPR, IoT, mechanics, nanopesticides. So practically every new technology is being supported. Now, that's not to say that the conventional approaches have been given up. We are also supporting them, but this is just to give you an idea as to what is the current status. This might change, but broadly, this is the situation as of now. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just to give you an idea how things move. We get the proposal online. This proposal is, we first carry out the eligibility check, that whether the applicant is eligible to apply under that particular scheme. These proposals are then assigned to the subject experts and evaluated by the area review panels. And then in case the proposals are shortlisted for a presentation, the applicant is required to make a presentation before a technical expert committee. If recommended, then at the next stage, there is a site visit carried out. Although it used to be physical earlier, but nowadays it is virtual because of COVID. And then if the experts who conduct the site visit recommend the proposal, then it is placed before the consideration of the Apex committee, which takes a final decision on the approval of the project for financial assistance. This entire process may take about 6 months, because there are 5 or 6 stages of a screening, and on an average, we receive about 350 to 400 proposals. And what eventually gets supported out of 400 or 380 would be around 15 to 20. So this number is not fixed. We are not rigid on the number of proposals that we support under each call. There is complete flexibility. The important thing is that the proposal should be interesting and worth supporting. Next slide, please. Now, these are some of the broad parameters which we consider for evaluation, which include scientific merit, innovation level, commercial potential, and the social relevance, the methodology, regulatory issues, and most importantly, the preliminary work done. So, there are proposals that we receive which says literature survey. Now, such proposals are outrightly rejected. When you submit the proposal, please ensure that you have done sufficient preliminary work to support your new proposal. We also look into the past performance of the company in case the company is approaching again for the second set of proposal. Next slide, please. Forget it. We move on to the next. We don't have time. Another 2 minutes. I'll just find out. Next slide, please. This is another scheme, what we call as the SPURS. This has got two components. That's affordable product development and the SIP program. Now, affordable product development is something very similar to BIP and SIBRI, not getting into the details of it, but I would like to highlight about the social innovation immersion program. This is an immersion program wherein it's a kind of a fellowship, wherein the applicant or the fellow gets 50,000 rupees every month, and he or she gets 18 months to develop a product. Now, this is for very, very early stage. So if you are not even sure about what exactly you intend to do, you get about 5 to 6 months to just move around, meet people, visit various locations, and identify a problem that interests you. And after that, you get about 12 months to develop a prototype or a product or a technology. So it's a very interesting program, and at the moment it is being implemented through 14 research centers, and each center accommodates maximum of 5 research fellows. This is one area which might interest some, and so far as the areas covered under this program is maternal and child health, aging and health, food nutrition, environmental, agri-tech, and waste to value. But these are not the only areas. Over a period of time, we intend to expand this activity to almost 25 to 30 centers. Hopefully by next year, this number would increase significantly. Move on to the next slide, please. This is one important slide which I want to share with all of you. Just few days back. Yeah, this would.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you please wind up?
I'll wind up just 2-3 slides and that's it. I will skip the remaining ones. Now, this is one Grand challenge, because this would be of direct relevance to some of you. This program is being initiated along with IKP Knowledge Park. And here the focus is to identify and fast-track technologies that are almost ready to deploy in the field, and they should be scalable, primarily with the objective of boosting farmers' income. So this call is open for another 6-7 days up to 5 p.m. 15 July. So those who have some product or a technology ready with them and they want to test it. Next slide, please. Next. We're short of time. Next. Yeah, just hold on. Next slide, please. Funding part, please. Previous one. And that's it. Yeah, please. So here the proposals are being considered for 2 stages. The first one is wherein 10 startups will be funded for 20 lakhs each for a maximum period of 6 months in the form of grant. And out of these 10 startups, another 5 would be supported up to 1 crore rupees for a period of 16 months. So this is a very interesting program, and this is a one-time call. If we are successful, which we hope to, then perhaps this might become a regular call over a period of time. But as of now, it's going to be only a one-time call. So since the time is short, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. There are quite a few slides left, another 7 or 10. But these would be available for references at a later stage. But I'll stop my presentation here. Thank you very much, and my apology for exceeding the time limit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for covering in detail. It would benefit not just for agri startups, but in general. So whoever wanted to apply for this particular grant in aid. Thank you very much, sir. That covers other aspects also, research, social development, everything. So with this, we'll move to our next speaker for today. Shashi Kumar, can you hear us? Yes. So we are here with us, Shashi Kumar. You are on mute, Shashi. You can unmute.
Can you hear me?
All good, all good. We welcome Mr. Shashi Kumar, manager from NABARD. So we know NABARD is a bankers bank, and as per agriculture development, they have had many initiatives. But however, we are restricting ourselves to the initiative for startups today. Over to you, Shashikumar sir, please.
Okay, actually, thanks to Manage for inviting me for this webinar. And even, in fact, it was quite impressive, the presentation made by Dr. Sanjay Saxena. But when compared to BIRAC, NABARD, we have actually very recently ventured into the startup ecosystem. My sincere request is whatever time slot you are given to Dr. Saxena, it is very difficult. Within 20 minutes, even
Yes,
he
yes.
could able to finish, but still that 6 to 7 slides, if it is possible to share to other attendees, it is well
We
and
will
good.
be sharing when at the end of the webinar, along with this recording video is available on YouTube. At the same time, both the presentations with your mail IDs will be sharing it to them. Anybody would continue the dialogue even after this webinar also, sir. That's how we generally do it. So do would like to, you can share your presentation, sir. We have given you sharing rights.
Yeah. Even in fact, I was about to interrupt Mr. Sanjay Saksena's presentation because 6 slides, if we want to finish, he can finish because I can manage within lesser slot, but
No
no
issues, no issues,
problem.
sir. No issues. We will take care of it. We'll share it with all the stakeholders, not just people visited today, but we have a bigger database. We even host it our website also, where we go to a large number of participants, including our social media.
Okay. Thank you so much. Whether my slide is visible?
Yes, sir. All good, sir. Good to go.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for introducing me. Just for once again, let me introduce myself. I am actually Sasi Kumar, who was taking care of incubation portfolio in NABARD. As you are all will maybe aware, NABARD is actually a banker's bank. We have got many vertical under our head. Just one introduction I would like to give. NABARD is actually Apex Level Development Bank, which has been enacted by the Parliament and separate act called NABARD Act 1981. We have entrusted with the objectives of making policy for the development of rural development, and even we have also got regulatory functions under which we do regular inspection of RRBs, even cooperative societies. Then our main objective of NABARD is main business center, what we can tell is through refinance activity. Last but not least is development activities. Development activities is actually nothing but where this incubation vertical, watershed development, national resource development, where only grant product is giving. In case of other regulatory, even credit and all, actually we do refinance facility. But coming to development projects for the development of rural and agri sector, we provide grant support under which this incubation center activity and other support to startups are being taken care. So to begin with, we believe in NABARD innovations drives economic growth. Economic growth means it is possible to steer the economy, but actually one major advantage of innovation is with a lesser amount of effort, we could able to profilate the higher level of economic growth. So through incubation center support, what we expect is startups, those who are working especially in agriculture and rural sector, to flourish the rural area through innovation. So we are going by the definition of actually a DPIIT. There is a department under Government of India called Department for Promotion of Industry and Industrial Trade. So as per the definition, their definition, a startup should not be more than 10 years of age and should not be more than 10 years of annual turnover. Each and every startup actually they should work towards innovation. Even Saxena sir in his presentation also yes briefly explained many of the startups, those who are in technology as well as health sector, they could able to proliferate well. But whereas in case of agriculture sector, it's very difficult because factors affecting agriculture are too huge. Regulatory approvals, it will take time. Even a startup, if he has to test something in related to farming sector, means it's geography specific. For example, something working in Kerala, it is not possible to work in Karnataka. Farm equipments, even we have been supporting certain startups, those who are into the farm machineries, they could able to perform well. Their cost economy, scale of finance, they work very well in Punjab, Haryana, but same thing it cannot be applied in Tamil Nadu because each and every geographic has got its own advantages and disadvantages. So what we are observing in startups is they should have a scalable business model which helps them in order to achieve their break even more at the earlier stage. And last but not least, we are looking forward for the startups, those who can provide a high potential. This high potential for startup generation, this is actually what is the need of the hour. Yeah, your idea is good, product is good, everything is okay, but it should have a capacity to replicate it, and it should bring enough economic progress for the rural economy. So what we normally think, just a brief introduction about startups I'll give, how we have structured in a way, and in the next slide, we'll be showing about different type of stages, and NABARD, what are the schemes we are having for those kind of startups. So we normally think startup is a buzzword which have come into the effect very recently, but it has the history state backs to the 1550. Even in Forbes article, the startups actually has been coined a term by the one of the article called budding company. But in India during 2015, our honorable prime minister, he has given a clarion call by unveiling the one of the flagship program of the government called Startup India. Even though what scenario we are facing in the overall startup ecosystem, even in fact India is the third largest startup ecosystem player globally, but number of startups coming up in agri sector, it's very limited. Even around 1 or 3 unicorns, agri-based unicorn startups are in the country. We are yet to see the agriculture-based unicorn. That is the kind of limitations we are facing for agri startups. So government of India, NST, EDB, they could able to come up with many schemes. NABARD actually, we have ventured into the startup ecosystem during 16-17. And before explaining our schemes, just overall statistics we'd like to highlight. There are total 72,600 startups available in our country. But as I have earlier indicated, 1 or 3 unicorns are available. A unicorn is nothing but a startup which is having a value of 1 million. And then coming to number of incubators and accelerators available in the country is 250. So this one actually this is for a naive person, for a layman perspective. I have brought it here how normally a startup journey it starts. For example, a founder is there. What is missing in the world? He'll think. He will write down. He'll come up with the idea. He will test the idea with a limited customer. If he requires any co-founder, means he can go for a co-founder who is specialized in technology, who is specialized in marketing. So those kind of co-founders he can get, and he can form a company. And once he launched the company, this is the actually critical phase every startup he has to face. For example, initially he would have got 100 users or 500 users, but ultimate aim, he should able to increase those users. If he could able to increase those users, means he can grow and he can go to the path of success. If suppose he is failing, where is our most of the agriculture startups, they face issues, they could not able to market, or they could not able to do that customer acquisition cost is very high in case of agri focused startups. So same thing in the form of life cycle, I would like to emphasize here. There are 7 stages of stages. Each and every startup they'll enter: idea stage, proof of concept, followed by prototype, validation, pilot, scale, and marketing. So NABARD, we have structured our schemes in order to align with the startups, those who are in the different kind of stages. For example, same steps only we have indicated here, but NABARD, we have a scheme to support agribusiness incubation center. So through agribusiness incubation center, what our objective is to support startups, those who are in the proof of concept stage, business model validation stage. Then comes pre-series A, series B, and scale up. These kind of startups who are into this phase, actually they are being supported through our subsidiary called NAB Ventures. That one I'll explain in the next slide. So this is our NABARD's approach. So 4 kind of support we are being provided. First one, our major focus is setting up this incubation center only, even new incubation center as well as existing incubation center. And then comes the catalytic capital fund. Catalytic capital fund is nothing but to support the startups, those who are entering the stage called valley of death stage. So what is the many of the clients, many of the requests and even proposal we receive from various stakeholders, the conceptual clarity actually they lack. supporting incubation center is nothing but we support institutional building, but whereas catalytic capital support is only giving funds for the startups. But in case of supporting incubation center is bootstrap assistant is one of the fund component, but our ultimate objective is to establish a complete organization, institutional support establishment through which we are indirectly helping the startups to come up. And then comes the NAB ventures. Just for the repetition, I'll try to explain here. So this proof of concept, business model validation, we are supporting through incubation center concept, and then through NAB ventures, we are supporting the startups here. This idea stage startups, even through some kind of startups, those who are into the proof of concept, they are being supported through our incubation center. And then comes the later part. Even we do support certain accelerator programs like Agri Udan. Even we have supported Indigram Lab Foundations accelerator program also. On a tab basis, on a need basis, we do support this kind of accelerator programs. Then in depth, I'll try to give overall what we are doing in each of these schemes. So first comes the incubation support. So incubation support, we maximum assistance of 15 crore we provide to the incubation support. Many of the startups, they will be having confusion whether we can directly approach NABARD for any support. Means no. Actually, as I have indicated earlier, NABARD, we believe in institutional support. Those institutions, they directly in touch with the startups. They do support the startups. For example, these are the main functions of our incubation center. Mainly physical incubation support they do provide. Even they are into the IPR management, business support services, and networking support services. For example, all support does not require only the funding support. They require sometimes even physical incubation is enough. They require business support services. Business support services is nothing but account help or legal kind of help, whether they require means. He already is a startup. He does not need a auditor throughout the year. So for a specific period of time or for on a day basis, if you want any support means they can go to the incubation center. They can get that registration done. Nominal fee they can pay. So only that legal support or accounting support they can get. Similarly for IPR management, I am a startup. I am working for a particular product, but I want that product to be registered for a patent or any geographical indication. I want it to be get registered. Means what we tell is there is one incubation center in Madurai called Tamil Nadu Agri Business Incubation, Madurai Agri Business Incubation Center. They help those startups in getting that patent done. Even IPR also, they have become so excellent that within a timeline they could able to help the startup to get that geographical indication done. So that particular startup, they can concentrate on marketing those products even at a higher scale. So far, NABARD has supported 7 incubation center across the nation. We give support to agri or agri-based agricultural universities, and then IIT, IIMs, those kind of institutions. But for example, you can ask query, you are a startup, directly you want to set up the incubation center means no. We don't support individuals under the incubation center concept. Only industry association or existing incubation center, and then comes the agri-based university. So primary focus will be given to agri-focused incubation center, followed by premier institutions, and then even existing agribusiness incubation centers also we provide support. So as on date, we have supported 7 incubation center. During 2017-18, we supported on pilot basis Tamil Nadu Agri Business Agriculture University and Chaudhary Charan Singh Agriculture University in Haryana. And then third incubation center what we have supported is IIT Kharagpur, followed by Gwalior. This area is what I have told is upscaling the existing incubation center. So all the remaining incubation center and all, they have been established with the support of NABARD. Even we also require some maximum support we can give is 15 crore per incubator for the establishment of incubation center. And even we also require some contribution from the host institution as well. These universities are being called as host institution, and in case of A area, there is no host institution concept. They themselves an existing incubation center. So NABARD has provided support to them for upscaling their activities. So while coming to supporting the incubation center, our major area of focus is it should be agri or allied activities, even other off-farm sector activities like handloom, handicrafts also eligible. And then what do we expect out of this incubation center is over a period of 5 years, 125 startups should be proliferated, and we are monitoring based on the milestone attached assigned to them. And then funding support is basically based on need support. For example, we have been receiving proposal like without doing enough background work, just simply sending the proposal, and whether it will get sanctioned or not, it is very difficult. Some background work, homework should have been done. The identified university, they should have prior experience in supporting such kind of incubation center. That too, not just an incubation center, they should have a agri focused, agri related demand. It's there for the startup to come in that particular identified geography. That one will check. So NABARD's journey so far, not only a standalone incubation center, even we do support hub and spoke model. For example, there is one incubation center called Agab Incubation Center. Their main hub, it is present in Hyderabad, whereas their spokes model, wherein they will be in direct touch with rural entrepreneurs at the spokes. Warangal, Jagshial, and Vikrabad, where those spokes are present. So startups, not only startups, even unregistered, not registered startups, rural entrepreneurs, they can directly in touch with spokes. They'll get trained at the spokes level. Once they are matured enough to get registered, now they are into the process of market traction. Means they can contact the hub which is situated in tier 1 or tier 2 cities for the funding support, because actual validation, actual testing, everything, it will happen at field level with the help of spokes. And in hub, they can get in touch with the hubs for the market intervention or further round of funding supports. So not just startups, we would like to have startups to have the direct link with farmers, community level institutions. It's what NABARD has been famous for. So we, through our network, we would like to bridge the gap between the farmers and the startups through our community level institution, those who are associated with us. And one more major advantage with our NABARD is we have been supporting farmer producer organization. Apart from funding support, what request we receive from startup is, sir, we have got the necessary product, but we are not able to reach out to the customer. So what we are doing in NABARD is, through our FPO immersion programs, we do connect farmers with those startups, farmer producer organizations. Because directly, if suppose you are a startup, just you are venturing into the field, you are trying to test your product in their particular field, means farmers, they don't come readily, they don't believe you actually. So through our incubation center, what we do is, we are some business manager, even sometimes CEO also, he will go to the field level, he will make understand the farmers that they are coming to improve their efficiency only. So that kind of support only NABARD we do provide through our incubation center channel. And these are the few examples what we are doing. Even blockchain technology also, in pilot basis, we are supporting through our one of the incubation center in Madurai. So we do even provide marketing linkages. For example, those farmers who could able to produce well, the cold storage facilities also we are providing. But in order to get their products get sold at the different level of geography, these incubation center, they'll connect farmers with the traders as well as wholesalers. Even exporters linkage also, incubation centers will be having. There is another institute called APEDA. So through APEDA, what these incubation center they do is, they store their marketing producers of those farmers. They link those producers to the traders, wholesalers at the different geography. Even I can understand there are certain queries being posted in question and answer panel. I'll just respond once this thing is done. That's a separate portion. I think time slot has been
We will
devised.
do
I'll
it, sir.
respond one.
It is
Yeah, yeah.
now. I think we can quickly conclude. We'll start with Q&A session. There are a couple of questions for BIRAC also. We'll do
Okay,
that.
okay. Okay. So these and all overall incubation support we are providing. Then comes the catalytic capital support. This catalytic capital support is compared to earlier what I have explained is for the establishment of an institution called incubation center. Then comes the catalytic capital support. It's actually to help the startups to come over the to actually take over to pass over that valley of death stage and into the commercialization stage. So here also NABARD does not provide catalytic capital support directly to the startups. We are operating this one through incubation center and subsidiaries of NABARD. So startups which are all working in the field of irrigation, seeds, biofertilizers, even non-traditional activities, health sector, education sector, which may die, even though there are certain startups directly they don't support, but indirectly they provide, they'll be helping those people in rural areas. They are eligible to get funding under this catalytic capital support of NABARD. And this catalytic capital support can be used for product development, testing, mentoring, intellectual property rights, even for manpower. To a certain limit, they can be used for the manpower requirement for running the day-to-day operations. And then comes the NAB ventures. So NAB ventures, the earlier what I have explained is those two schemes, incubation center and catalytic capital. Those two schemes are actually schemes policies of NABARD, but this NAB ventures is an another entity. What we call is a venture capital entity. It's a separate entity based out of Mumbai. They do invest in startups, those who are in early to mid-stage life cycle. So very recently, even Krishi Tantra and Zoyocorp, such kind of startups also we are directly. It's actually equity support. These NAB ventures they do support. And in addition to the last but not least, I'd like to emphasize NABARD not only incubation center support and equity support, we also provide grant support to the accelerator program on a need basis. idea we have supported, and Indigram Lab Foundation also we have supported for this kind of accelerator program. So thank you. Within short span of time, whatever I could able to explain about NABARD scheme, I could able to provide some insights. For further any doubt or any clarity it's required means, startups they should make use of the websites available, because in presentation we can actually show within short span of time we can explain certain things only, but for detailed guidelines make use of internet. Actually internet, it provides what is the actual eligibility criteria and how much funding is required and what kind of formats are required to be submitted. Everything it is available. It's not just applicable for only NABARD, it's applicable for all other organizations also.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Shashi. So thank you for covering what NABARD activities are. A quick question for Sanjay sir. Sanjay Saxena sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So there are questions related to some BIRAC related things. Sir, they were asking anybody can apply. So only not just Agri, but any component could apply. I think which you addressed it earlier also, I think you can address again, highlighting the biotechnology component and their business model, sir, please.
So what is the question? I mean, is it, what is specifically the query is?
So it was not directly, they were asking, does big grant only apply for started working in biotechnology field?
See, any project that is supported by BIRAC must have a component of biotechnology, because that's, you know, since this is an enterprise set up by Department of Biotechnology, so unless and until the project or the proposal has a component of biotechnology, it will not get supported.
Yes, sir. Even though their business model may not be biotechnology, but there should be a biotechnology component somewhere. The component should be there. That should be emphasized.
That's right. Like, for example, if somebody is trying to develop a sensor to measure moisture in the soil, now that's okay. You know, it's more of electronics and other things, but this sensor would be used to, you know, place in the, it would be placed in the soil at the farmer's field, and indirectly it is going to help the farmers to augment his income at a later stage. So even if it has an indirect relevance, it will get supported.
Great, sir. That's a great example. So I think now people are clear. You may not run a biotechnology company to apply. You may not have a biotechnology idea, but the idea, whatever you're proposing or the business, whatever you are doing, should have a biotechnology component. That particular part they will be able to support.
Yeah.
Great, sir. Thank you very much. Shashi, there is a particular question about packaging, agro packaging kind of a thing. Will that kind of a thing will be supported under NABARD?
Yes. Packaging actually very well, it is an eligible activity. But under packaging, what is the status of that startup? Whether he is yet to register or he is already having a prototype, he is already established startup, what kind of support he requires from NABARD?
Okay. So we have one of the CEOs of NABARD Agri Business Incubator joined with us today. 1 minute, they want to share their experiences. We have Manisha from Hisar Agriculture University is here with us today. 1 minute. Let me find her. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I need to unmute. Ma'am, please. Manisham, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Right. Okay. So a very good afternoon to the panelists. Yes, and I've been listening to the whole session. I've joined like in the morning itself. So yeah, Sanjay sir was also mentioning that yes, incubation centers that we have been working with our funding agencies, like like even Sasi was mentioning that we are one of the incubation centers of NABARD. I mean, the first two, one of the first two. First was in MABIF that comes under TNAU Coimbatore, and then we are based at CCS Haryana Agriculture University in Haryana, right? Okay, so I can just, I mean, I'll just take a minute. I just wanted to share with all the participants of today's session is that NABARD because the whole incubation ecosystem that NABARD has been supporting and initiating through the establishment of these incubation centers is that in the last, I would say just 3 years of time, the whole incubation ecosystem, like all the incubators right now. So we have been impacting thousands of people's lives, right? I mean, it's not just starting the agri startups. The actual impact, I would say, it's like helping the farmers, helping the people that who see. It's like if we talk about startups, I mean, if I have to, because I've been into incubation since 2010. So, I mean, last decade or last 2 decades, if we had to talk about startups, the only thing that comes to the mind of the people that India, I mean, yeah, software startups, IT startups, and the things like that. But now the things are changing. Even Sasi was also mentioning, like one of the biggest unicorns is from agrotech. So why not? Because India being an agrarian economy all the way, I mean, still it's like 58% directly, indirectly dependent on agriculture, right? So the fact is that yes, the things are changing, and agri startups, they are bringing so many, I would say rock bottom things, and yes, the how to say these rural innovation and these impacts that they are creating. Even our incubation centers, through our incubation centers of NABARD, we have trained more than 500 agri startups. And yes, these startups are actually creating these innovative products, not just product innovation, but process innovation as well. So I would also like to add is that manage, because we have been working with the Ministry of Agriculture scheme as well, that is RKVY-RAFTAAR, right? So these initiatives like these have been really impacting the whole agribusiness scenario in India. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your experiences that resonates with the work of the government, trying to help the startups at various stages. So I think with this note, I would conclude for the today's webinar. So there are whatever the questions are there, what we will do, we'll be sharing the videos of today with the presentations of the both the speakers and mail IDs of the both the speakers with all the participants, so that they can write to you in case and they can even write to us also to take it forward. There are some questions which are not relevant to today's topic, for example FPO related, that also will take it forward. You can write to us or to Shashi also. Thank you very much for taking a time on a Saturday coming out, sir, both the speakers, Dr. Sanjay as well as Mr. Shashi. Thank you very much. So I would like to thank our Director General Manager, Director of Agriculture Extension, Dr. Srinan Raj, our teammates, Jainath, Sino, and others who are part of this event. And last but not the least, our attendees who took your time, close to more than 200 people are there. Thank you very much. We look forward to your upcoming webinar. And there is one announcement from our end. Manage Sammanati Agri Startup Awards applications are live. please apply to that. Details are available in Manage website as well as our website. We'll be sending you a mail also. We're just given in the chat also. Anybody requested to forward this. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.